We're back! Hello, and welcome back, one and all, to the Chaos Protocol, right here, right now, on Transplanar RPG. No matter if you are tuning in for the first or 100th time, we are an all-transgender, people of color-led, dark fantasy, actual play TTRPG channel, telling stories set in an original, non-colonial, anti-orientalist multiverse. This means we stand against genocide and ethnic cleansing, and support all oppressed peoples of the world struggling against injustice, imperialism, and colonization. We must use our voices now more than ever to build solidarity and fight for the worlds we wish to see. So to that end, free Sudan, free DRC, free Palestine, abolish ICE, and free all oppressed peoples of this world. Thank you all, as our incredible audience, for showing up to support our story and our values. If you are watching this right now, you are seeing the live recordings of Arc 2 episodes 17 and 18 on Twitch or on YouTube. And before we get started, please allow me to reintroduce our fantabulous cast for the evening, starting with our incredible guest for this arc, Hamna Shahid.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hamna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer and producer. Today, I have the lovely pleasure of playing Rhododendron Takrar, who uses they, Ray pronouns. I'm not. We'll just see how this is gonna go. There's a lot to unpack here, I think. Me squinting at the rest of my fellow castmates. Speaking of which, I will pass things over to Val.
Hello everyone, my name is Valiant Dorian. I use he him his pronouns. You can find me all around the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Arts of Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I just set you on. Tonight, a distinct pleasure of playing your favorite sad little meow meow Sayer, who uses he they pronouns. I'm gonna pass on over to the pop of the hour.
Hi everyone, I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns, and I'm so excited to be back playing Mr. Zanin-esh, who uses he, him pronouns, and he's a little worried about someone. Speaking of.
Hello everyone. I am Samstar. I use she, they, and the occasional they pronouns, and I have the most lovely pleasure of bringing back everyone's favorite healer, Lumira, who uses she, her pronouns. What's going on, boss?
It's a me, boss. Before I head up announcements, just a heads up that for me, C, who's our producer behind the scenes, and Hamna, Storm might be heading our way because we're here in the Northeast. So if this stream randomly cuts out for no reason, it's probably because the storm is here. And we probably won't be able to stream until it's over. So don't be concerned if that happens. That is why it's occurring if it does occur. So
I can't believe you just doxed us in that voice.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It's a joke.
I'm so sorry. We're not there. We don't exist anywhere in any physical location.
Can we ban the GM? Is that something that we can do? Can we ban the GM?
We're getting a nod.
Yes.
We're getting a yes.
C is saying yes.
Take me off the screen. Hi, you don't even have a scene without me on the screen, C. So I dare you to try to pull me off of it.
Hamna's here.
I did.
I watched the bonus episode. I know the overlay exists.
Here and Val's here. I think we can absolutely do this without Connie.
Oh my god. Okay,
Unfortunate, not really. We can't do this without
sponsors
Connie.
save
We love
me.
you. We love you,
Sponsor
Connie.
save. Oh, did you pull us off? Okay, anyway. Okay, back to it. A massive thank you to our incredible sponsors for this evening and for Arc 3, Explain Trade, Hero Forge, and Frivolous Bear Studios. Hero Forge in particular, it's been a while since I've done this spiel, so I'm going to do it from the top. They have added a bunch of cool new features since the last time we really explored them in Arc 2, including their color statuettes. They are the perfect way to show off all of those unique details you kind of have to squint to see on regular size mini. Perfect for like a prize character you just really want to show off or plop in the middle of a session, really intimidate your players with. So check out Hero Forge today through our very special affiliate link at bit.ly/transforge. The T and the F are capitalized. You don't have to buy anything, just clicking on that link helps us a lot. I'll pass things over to Hamna.
We would also like to thank our Patreon pre-subs for supporting us as well. So shout out to all of y'all out there who've been giving Transplaner your money, helping make trans art real. So thank you very much to Ozra, Brooke, Cassidy, Clay, Elvira, Gridrunner404, Mark J, Phil, Robert Burke, Rose, Sergeant Danes, Spencer, Squareheart, Taylor, The Bow System, and Zoe. You can join their illustrious ranks by using !Patreon in the chat, and consider pledging because we have a free tier if you would so choose to get some free stuff, or you can start at the $3 tier as well. Or give a subscription to a loved one because, Transplaner is always a wonderful, wonderful gift. You'll unlock behind the scenes content and even monthly discounts on the merch store, which, speaking of which, Val?
Listen up, folks. It's Valentine's Day, which means you should treat yourself to gorgeous apparel, home goods, and accessories designed by my husband. Use !merch in chat or go to transplanerrpg.shop. Our shop is sourced ethically, size inclusive, and made to order using free global shipping. So please go and check us out and give yourself the gift of Val this Valentine's Day. Anyways, I'm passing it over back to Kai.
It's wild in here, everyone. If you've enjoyed the Chaos Protocol and all of this chaos, please consider donating and leaving us a tip. All tips go directly to the performers and will also support our incredible mod team. Your donations help our work make our work possible. I can read. It does, though. It really does help make our work possible. Use !donate in chat and toss a coin to the Twilight Guard. It really helps us continue to do the work we do and makes the future fundraising possible. Sam?
And it's time for everyone's favorite part. Last time on the Chaos Protocol, Strike Team Nova defeat their werewolf assailant with the help of a bigger, stronger werewolf. Their heroic neighbors turn out to be Maeve and Bo, a werewolf hunter duo who are looking into the death of Ren Shimizu. Nova tag along with them and break into the Recluse Gallery, where they find no solid evidence of murder until Bo summons the ghost haunting the art museum. Things are looking bad until Bo asks Lumira to drink their blood. The team witnesses the true death of Ren Shimizu, a messy, complicated affair. When they return from their vision, Lumira passes out, and Ro is waiting for them. And that's what you missed last time. Use !recap in chat to read our full written recap document.
Thank you so much for that, Sam. And now, moving on to content warnings for this session. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this session may include fantasy violence, blood, grief, trauma, vampirism, neck gore, romance, references to sex, complex character dynamics, memory loss, and mentions of spiders. If you are in the Twitch chat, you can use !CW at any time to get a look at our content warnings. Otherwise, if you're in the YouTube chat, our mods will be posting these content warnings in chat every now and then for your safety and your viewing pleasure. And now for the title of tonight's episode. The water is waiting. The flesh goes unfed. From praying beside the teeth that killed me, by Connie Chong. Let's begin. Lumira. Lumira. Starlight, it's time to wake up. Lumira. Your eyes slowly flutter open. It's dark. Cool. A welcome reprieve from the blazing rays of Yureyin's sister. Above your head, you can just barely make out the hardy bands of dried seagrass that comprise the roof of your bedroom. You're curled up in your bed, woven from the tough yellow fibers of raffia palm leaves and softened by generous layers of colorful fabric. There are no windows here. Why would there be? This is a private place. For rest, for sleeping. It's so nice and dark and cool, and the distant pull of dreams and sleep and Mengshen Zhidi's domain is calling you, lulling you back to slumber, and then Lumiera, my darling. That's it. I'm coming in. A
5
silhouette.
more minutes.
Against your small and quiet protest, a silhouette darkens the doorless threshold of your bedroom. A hand is resting against the cool, molded soil of the wall. You smell hibiscus flowers, kufia blooms, the distant spray of salt. And then she's here, next to you, gently shaking you awake. Sweetness, it's time. It's your big day. Aren't you excited?
5 more minutes, please.
Lumiera. And as you come to unwillingly, she swims into focus. You see a round, smiling face, warm, dark brown skin. Her hair is braided and pulled into a low ponytail. She wears a colorful head wrap, an off-the-shoulder blouse and cowl, and a skirt, all woven and patterned from bandana fabric. Braided into her locks are cowrie shells that glint in the dark and clack pleasantly as she tilts her head, smiling at you. She's beautiful, Lumiera. Your mother is beautiful. Ah, look at you already. 8! A fortuitous age! Ah, and there is much to prepare for tonight, Starlight. Your clothes, your hair. Your aunties have brought everything down to Didon Beach. We must go meet them, or you'll be late for your own ceremony.
I think Lumiera at first was relishing in the warmth and comfort of the bed she was in. Unknowingly, she kind of curls further into her mom when she walks in and sits down next to her. But the second she mentions her party, her eyes light up, go wide as saucers. And while she was in the middle of this big cat stretch, she bounces up and is jumping and jittery and bouncing in spot.
There you are! I was wondering when you'd remember today was the big day. Now come on! And your mother straightens with you, holding out a hand for you to take.
Yeah, I'll absolutely grab it.
Your small hand nuzzles into hers. You can feel the many calluses against her palm. And gently, she guides you up and off of your bed and leads you to the threshold of your sleeping quarters. Together, the two of you step out onto the cool clay floors of the veranda outside. And as your eyes adjust to the sudden brightness of the near dawn, you see your family's extensive courtyard blooming with the tangerine hue of ripe ackee fruits, the purple flowers of guayaquil trees, and the prickly green hides of verdant soursop. There are people here too, despite the early hour. Many people sitting and laughing and talking, playing ayo or sue if they're children, shooting the breeze. They wear headscarves, bandana shirts, shawls, all manner of elaborate dresses and robes. But overwhelmingly, their clothing is colorful, and it is patterned, and it is made of damask and cotton and loose-fitting, breathable linens. You hear music too. Somewhere beyond this courtyard, a steel drum band is playing, the bright and jubilant tones floating over the sea breeze to greet your ears. It's been going non-stop for days now, all of it leading up to this moment, all of it for you. Today is an important day for you, for your mothers, for Okoun, for all of Tungal. As your mother leads you through this courtyard, various folk stop what they're doing to greet her, inclining their heads deeply. But they're not just greeting her, they're greeting you with wide smiles and respectful nods despite your small stature, returning your excited wave with waves of their own. And as you walk together, your mother nudges you with a semi-mischievous smile. Sweet one, do you remember asking me how the fruits of Subo stay ripe year-round?
No.
I'm halfway surprised, Lumiera. Your memory is usually so photographic, but I will happily remind you. You were only 2.5, but already so perceptive. I told you the truth, that the salt nymphs blessed us with this enchantment after your mother did them a great favor back when she was young. But you weren't satisfied with that. You wanted to know exactly how the magic worked. Your mother pauses. The two of you stall at the threshold of this massive courtyard, and beyond you see other courtyards, other verandas, other buildings built into the loamy slopes of Okoun's capital city, Sumo. These slopes roll all the way down to the glittering Didan Ocean in the distance. You see crystal clear, deep blue waves stretching from horizon to horizon, an endless bounty of seawater. Galtanger is rising with each passing second, painting the white-capped tides of the Didan Ocean even whiter. Your mother crouches so that she's eye to eye with you. Her brown eyes are endless wells of love. And she says, "It's not like you to have hidden in your room for so long, Numira, or to be late for something, especially not on such an important day. Is there something going on, my shining star?"
Lumira, she's taking all of this in, and it looks like almost she's taking this in for the first time, in a sense. It's new, but wholly and deeply familiar at the same time. Like it only took her a little bit of time before she realized where exactly she was. She was home, but not home like the syndicate home. Home like her home. Surrounded by family and friends, community. So she looks back up at her mother. Her eyes are still very wide, but also kind of confused. She doesn't know how to answer that question to why she was spending a lazy day in when has she been looking forward to this? It feels like she has, but she's not sure. So she just kind of digs her foot into the ground next to her with her toe, not really making eye contact for a second. And she just shrugs her shoulders.
Darling. And your mother crouches down, looking up into your face, trying to see you, not letting you hide from her. She's so good at this, the seeing of you in a way that feels gentle, not unrelenting, but focused. Her love is a focused beam of light, and it shines right up and at you. Mira, you can tell me anything.
I thought that maybe if I slept longer, then... And she wets her lips with her tongue for a second and bites on her bottom lip, playing with her fingers in front of her. Inescapable of her mother's gaze. Her mom won't let her look elsewhere. I thought that if I stayed in my bed all day or longer, then I wouldn't have to turn 8, and I wouldn't have to do the swim. What if I'm not enough?
darling. And her hands reach forward and her fingers clasp your small, tiny palms gently. You see colorful gems flashing across her fingers. And she looks at you with irrevocable sincerity. Every single word that falls out of her lips, she believes with every ounce of her being. You are Lumiera Ashinobi Ashupafero. And by this time tomorrow, you will be Lumiera the Raven Song. Your mother and I wanted you so badly that the song itself heard our prayer and sent you to us. We made you with our own hands and crafted you from starlight. You are perfect the way you are. Not just perfect, loved, powerful. There is no reality, no world, no realm, no timeline in which you could never be enough.
You promise?
I promise, Starlight.
Okay. And Lumiera launches herself into her mother's chest, just wraps her arms around her waist and hugs as tightly as her little arms could.
She folds you up in her strong, soft arms, envelops you in her love and her smell, the spray of ocean salt, hibiscus flowers. And the two of you stay like that, a perfectly captured moment in time that never ends. And then she lets go of you gently, her brown eyes sparkling with excitement. Are you ready to face the Antes?
Yes, I am. And she says it like with her chest puffed out and standing tall, eyes focused, looking so much like her mother's, precision, laser focused. And she smiles, this big smile. She's like missing one of her front teeth, so it's like a little gap.
I love that, yeah. A big, perfectly confident smile buoyed by your mother's words. And she returns that smile to you with a, that's my girl. Now come. And she begins to lead you down the gentle slopes of this coastal city that is your home. And as you walk, you pass the swaying trunks of palm trees, every single step bringing you closer and closer to the cawing of seagulls and the rushing of tides against a sandy beach. As you continue down these slopes, the ocean seems to rise to greet you, getting larger and larger, wider and wider, bluer and bluer. As the two of you walk, your mother hums a song in rhythm to the steel drums that are getting louder and louder as you get closer to this coast. Then you hear a kind of like a rustling in some bushes off to your right, and a mischievous, psst, hey, Lumiera, psst, over here.
And she like is, her head's on a swivel around trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Yeah, your head swivels around, your gaze scans the underbrush, the verdancy, the brown trunks of trees, the bright colors of fruits, the green everywhere. And then you see something that doesn't quite fit in, two antlers poking out of a bush dappled with colorful orchids. And then the rest of this child's body surfaces, and you see dark brown skin, a flash of colorful robes, and long white hair. And Sing says, psst, Lumiera, over here.
Sing.
Yeah, Lumi, psst, 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 over here.
What are you? And she runs towards Sing, rips her hand from her mother, and runs towards her.
You run toward her and you collide into a hug, and Sing folds you up in her tiny little arms, about as long as yours are. The two of you spin around a little bit in this orchid bush. She's laughing, and you see cherry blossoms mixing in with the orchids. When you pull away briefly, she says, Lumi, Listen, there's no time. They still need you. Come on, come with me.
Seer? Too? What?
Yes, all of them, they need you.
Okay. And I think she kind of like is in a tizzy for a second because she doesn't necessarily know what she needs to do, but she takes one of her deep breaths and seals herself. And you see the Lumira that we know. Now, she rolls her shoulders back. Her eyes become very focused. Point me to them. Let's go.
And Sing takes your hand in hers and leads you. And Lumira, you gasp awake. The white-hot, ice-cold pain of seizing against fate's bindings is an unsteady memory within your body, aftershocks of it jolting your nervous system like errant lightning bolts. But with every passing second, the pain subsides, and you feel more and more anchored to the present, to the now. But that dream you had, that memory, is vivid in your mind, every detail, every word, every scent still etched into your brain, into your soul. How much of it do you hold on to?
Every single piece. She's 26 now. For years, she's forgotten her own name. Her family name. Fate could rip it from her cold, dead hands.
The name resonates in your mind like a prayer. Lumira Ashinobi Oshupafero. And as you come to, suddenly and viciously, you become distantly aware of bodies swarming around you alongside the familiar smell of teakwood and gun oil, dark amber and aged jasmine, shadows and moonlight. Strike Team Nova. There's something else. A voice, measured and cold and just a touch cracked open. Rhododendron's voice, on the periphery of your awareness, but it's not an immediate concern, at least not right now. Right now, Strike Team Nova closes around its heart. Zynon and Seir, how do the two of you help guide Lumira back into her body?
The second Seir feels Lumira stir in his arms, Rhododendron is no longer his concern. He does not care of anything here other than Lumira. And he turns his entire gaze, and you see his eyes brimmed with worry, pupils wide, blue and piercing irises staring into you. And he closes the distance and holds you to steady you, and he murmurs your name. Mira? Are you back? Hey. Easy.
What happened?
You scared me half to death is what happened.
Scared
Don't scare me like that again.
Looming just behind Seir is Zynon. He keeps glancing quickly between Rhododendron and our hunters and Lumira. But his gaze lingers longer and longer at Lumira the longer she is unconscious. And the moment that she jolts awake, he steps closer and just puts his hand on Seir's shoulder. He's there. He knows that she is safe. And now his eyes move on a swivel around the room. Not to Lumira, she's taken care of, but to make sure that no one gets closer.
Speaking of other people in the room, Rhododendron. As these half-strangers, half-associates of your house tend to one of their own, the hunter and the wolf turn to face you. You've heard of these two. You're aware of their services, let's say. The wolf, Maverick, helps Beauregard Thorn to their feet, and the two of them approach you. Apologies, Mr. Carr, for the whole breaking and entering thing. I really did try to do this above board, though.
I take it you're the one that's been emailing me recently.
Yes, so you have been getting them. I thought maybe you were too busy to respond to them, but it seems like maybe that wasn't the case.
I have been quite busy repairing the Recluse Gallery, though I suppose I don't need to tell you that, seeing as you've allowed yourself to enter into the space. Closed as it was.
Yes. Well, you see, we were on quite urgent business, and I hope you will not be pressing charges against us. Pretty please?
Well, I suppose that depends. I take it that you two are, well, tasked with upholding the Crimson Tapestry. And gathering from, and Ro's head turns to where Lumira is coming to, and where the rest of Nova is taking care of her. And I think that they can surmise that something has happened here. Now that you know the truth, I suppose let me ask you this. Am I to expect myself to spend the rest of my unlife running from second death?
Maverick says, I'm just a packless wolf and a pretty good private investigator. But Beau. And she turns to Beau, who takes their own independent step, but still leans with a hand against Mav's chest for support. Looks at you with those ghostly eyes. My job is to hunt down those that need to be hunted. To keep Inferno in balance, as you have eloquently described. What I saw in my vision was house business. You did break the Crimson Edict by slaying Ren outside the bounds of a formal deal, but Ren forced your hand. I have no quarrel with you, Takar. Not tonight. Tonight, you are safe from my bullet and my stake. But... And Beau takes a step toward you fearlessly. If any of those four end up injured or dead before the sun rises, I will hunt you down, and I will deliver you a swift and final second death.
Ro nods. I will make sure that no harm befalls the four of them, and given that you are willing to look the other way, so will I. House Sakrar will not be pressing charges for your transgression today.
Good. Oh, thanks. Much appreciated.
Though, I suppose you will need to go back and tell the person that hired you something or other. And it would be a shame to leave without evidence of any kind. I'm sure that they are feeling restless over there, so if you'll allow me, I can give you something to give back to them.
Beau quirks an eyebrow at you. Go on.
And Ro goes to their pocket and quickly fishes out something that looks like it was stuffed in there hurriedly. And as we take it out, if Beau or Mav have ever been to the Recluse Gallery prior to it being destroyed and prior to the construction that was happening, they might recognize the piece that is in Rhododendron's hand. It is a piece of that large tapestry that was hanging on the wall, the one that had been destroyed. And the sort of like yarn that had made up the tapestry, the wood on it, you can still sort of like see remnants of pieces of it. And they turn it over to the back, and pulling out a pen from their pocket as well, Ro begins to write a note. For the audience, as Ro writes, the note says, "Olives don't grow on hunters, my fearsome shrike. Surely you can tell the difference between a thorn and a branch. I hope you'll know which is on your doorstep when my gift arrives." And they don't sign it, but they put the pen away and they hand it face down to Bo and Mav. I trust that you won't read it before giving it to your employer.
No promises. But you have a feeling they won't, as Bo takes it. And they tuck it away amongst their various hunting and ghost calling implements. And then, some of their energy spent, they lean back against Mav again, who hurriedly puts one large hand around their waist and the other around their shoulder to steady them. Alright, well, we'll be out of your hair now. I assume you're gonna wanna... And the wolf jerks her head in this group of strangers' direction.
Yes, I think a conversation is in order.
Of course. Take care, neighbors. See you around.
Bye.
Mav inclines her head sharply, as does Bo. And with that, the wolf and the hunter egress the gallery, leaving Rhododendron and Strike Team Nova the opportunity for a private word.
How is Lumiera doing? Does it look like she's like come to and is like feeling okay? Like, how are you kind of getting your bearings?
She looks like she's getting her bearings and is coming to, definitely more coherent than when you first walked in, for sure. Just kind of relishing being surrounded by her teammates right now.
And allowing you to, if you're still sort of like seated and kind of like trying to come to still, I think Ro will find a bench that is near you and sit down so as not to force you to stand up. They're not that cruel. And as they sit down, Ro crosses their legs and crosses their arms across their chest, closed off to the four of you. Well, it seems that the information I gave you was unsatisfactory, so much so that you felt the need to break in where you weren't invited.
Why lie? Lumiera asks immediately, and she looks at you. Her vision is focusing on you, but you can tell it's also kind of going in and out.
Why lie?
You had a valid reason.
You might think so. But will everybody think that? Do you think that it would be wise for me to just tell the truth to any old four strangers, new blood that show up into town, asking questions?
I'm not talking about to me.
Besides,
There is much that you have to learn about Inferno. Much that you don't know.
Consider all of this our mutual distrust, then.
And mutual mistrust it does seem to be.
Do you blame us? You seek to continuously remind us about how little we know about Inferno, so what? We're supposed to take what you say at face value? Not do our own due diligence? You do yours. Do you blame us for doing ours?
Seer. And Yinghe puts a hand on your shoulder as you start forward at Ro.
And Ro fixes you with this piercing gaze, with very yellow eyes boring into you, and there's... In another emotion, it might be amusement, but it looks like annoyance more than anything. I expect everyone to do their due diligence, to do their homework, so to speak. But I also expect everyone to know why it is that they are offering their services to others, if that is truly what they are offering. Now,
Told you what.
because you're good people.
We
Because you
have
help?
our
Because
reasons.
You're helping me.
I wasn't helping you when you put your body in front of Yara's, when their life was about to be taken.
So what, let your sister die?
That was us helping you.
Look, you don't have to tell me what your reasons are for wanting to help me, what the real reasons are, because let's not kid ourselves, neither have you been honest with me either. But you should at least know them and be confident in your reasons for yourself. Enough to trust me to some degree. Enough to help me without questioning why you're doing it in the first place. It seems to me like none of you know why you're helping me. At the very least, I don't know why.
That's for us to know. Like I said, we have our reasons. I'm sure you have yours.
Lumira. Rest.
Well, you'll excuse me if that's not good enough for me to allow folks like such as yourselves to use the House the Crowd name in your dealings and to poke your nose around in my business. If you truly want to help me, then I think we need to start from the beginning. Mr. Esh over there said that there is mutual distrust here, so let's build some trust. I need you to figure out, the four of you, what your real reason is for helping me. And I won't accept the ones that you've given me, that you're good people, that you're just helping. I need a real reason to trust you, for you to trust me. And if, after all of that, you still want to help me, then I will gladly accept.
Lumira looks between Sinan, Sayer, and Yinghe.
Zynon is chewing on something, both literally just keeps his tongue worrying at his teeth. But also you can see, especially Lumira, you have seen him get a bite of something and not be able to let it go. And he's tried to give reason. He's tried to make himself important in this world, and he isn't speaking. Whatever is rolling around in there is stuck.
Lumira sees that flash just briefly across Sinan's face. Her eyebrow quirks up knowingly. Just as fast as it appeared, it's gone. She runs her tongue across her teeth, holding on to it for later.
Sayer leans into Yinghe's grip. On his face is a angry, vicious Doberman, begging for a target to bite. But his eyes speak a different story. And I think Yinghe would notice in his eyes is a young man drowning in an ocean, in a lake, in a river, a red river. And he is lost and being brought into the undertow.
Yinghe's grip tightens a little around your shoulder. She clocks it, but like Lumira, she kind of holds it in her mouth and doesn't address it yet. That will be for later, you suspect. And then the Shadow Mage turns their eyes onto Ro and says, Uh, I, I think what you're asking for sounds quite reasonable. And I also wanted to offer some words of my own, if you will accept them. Mostly just that I'm sorry. About what happened between you and Shimizu. It really seemed like you cared about them, and that they broke your trust. So I'm sorry it had to end that way.
And there's a beat where Ro catches their arms that have been so tightly crossed across her chest, I think, untighten for just a moment, like Ro is about to open them. But they catch themselves before they do, and Ray crosses their arms again. Because this is the first time anyone's ever said that to them. Sure, you know, at the funeral, people have expressed their condolences and whatnot, but it's all pleasantries, it's all performance. None of it is real. And there's a sincerity in Yinghe's words, in the compassion that he has for Ro in this moment, that I think catches Rem genuinely off guard. Because in the web of spiders, sincerity is rare. Dangerous. And so Ro catches for a moment and composes himself. Says, "Thank you. Thank you. It was difficult. Things are always difficult. There are choices that people have to make. And that is why," and Ro's gaze turns to all of Nova, "and that is why I need you all to really understand what it is that you're getting yourself into and why. You saw what happened. Ask yourselves, do you still want to help me?"
You protected your own. I see no fault.
Well, you're right. I keep saying that you don't know enough about Inferno. So instead of treating you like children, I will give you the opportunity to learn for yourself the realities of what it's like to be in this city, to be mixed up in its politics, what it takes to weave the web. I think you heard a name. Tavash. They were referring to Tavash Lanius. And I think, if you are to know anything about Inferno, you should go and talk to them. Hear their side of the story, so to speak. And when you see through their deception, come back to me.
You would send us to a strike?
I would. You saw through my own deceit. That's why you're here, isn't it? Because you didn't believe the webs that I was spinning for you. And if you were able to see through the weaving of the spiders, surely the shrikes should not be able to deceive you.
You seem so confident that we'll find out exactly what you think or believe are deceptions.
That's because it's the truth. And you have all proven yourselves competent enough to be able to discern the truth. So don't take it from me. Find out for yourself.
We'll do that. But how?
Actually, Mr. Esh, you've met exactly the vampire who can take you to Tavash. Goes by the name Diablo.
Huh. Alright. Diablo it is then.
And while you're gone, don't stick your noses where they don't belong. if you need access to places that only House Thakrar can get you, come talk to me. And that is a warning.
We cut to Elegy Apartments as the door shuts behind your strike team. The four of you are greeted by familiar environs of a cozy, well-furnished living space. But coziness is the last thing on your strike team's mind. There is much to discuss and much to parse.
What the fuck was that?
Part of me is inclined to believe that Rhododendron really insulted my intelligence, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Well, they're a fool to do that. And as you were all standing, Sayer, like, is behind Nova and, like, taps the mid of your back, Lumira, to gesture you to a couch or a chair because you just passed out. He wants you to sit.
Lumira doesn't fight it. She just sits in a chair. Pick and
grabs
choose your
it.
battles.
He grabs a throw and he tosses it over your lap and then just folds it close to your hands so you're comfortable. As he paces a little bit towards the kitchen to grab himself a glass of water, even though he doesn't drink normal human consumption and really requires blood. This is just this one moment he just needs a glass of water. And he takes a little sip and he looks at the rest of Nova.
Simon hasn't left the door.
Simon?
His hat is still on. His fingers sort of touching each other in thought. His thumb to his index finger, his middle finger, his ring finger, and back again, over and over and over again. This isn't right.
I
Saw
vote
that
we
look
call home
earlier.
base. What look?
You were on something. I know fidgeting when I see it. What'd you peep?
We don't have enough.
Yeah. Yeah, we
I
don't.
could have told you that.
From this Mayday mission.
I mean, we usually don't get
I
enough,
was gonna
but
say, when have we ever gotten like actual in full depth?
You're right. We
details?
should call.
The Wild Sea wasn't a complete assignment, and we were told something that was different. Neither was the City of Heaven. I thought at this point we all knew that our Mayday missions were incomplete until we got there.
But usually the mission updates. But anyways, we seem to be on the same page. We need to phone home base.
Yeah,
Oracle.
Artemis.
So
Hmm?
when you came to Zhiguang, you didn't...
Oh, hey,
and the Oracle beeps to life in Zynan's pocket as a physical sphere.
Zynon reaches into his pocket and pulls out the oracle. Oh, hi,
oh,
oracle.
oh, it smells really bad in there. You know, you should clean out your pockets sometime. Lots of lint. We do not get along. You're very opinionated and in all the wrong directions.
Oracle, call
Lint.
Artemis, please.
Oh, you want me to call Artemis? Yay! Okay, I missed her. I'm excited to connect you to her. I'm pretty sure that you won't be able to see her face on my butt.
And like another blue triangle floats up through that clear window. That just says no luck across the front.
But I believe I can act as a interconnected network of sorts to beam her to one of your phones. An internet work, if you will. Excuse me.
Zynon just looks at the oracle.
Connie, please tell me you're not making dial-up noises right now.
I sure
Yes.
am!
I'm
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Cursed.
Sayer turns to Yinghe and just mouths, I'm so sorry.
Yehu looks very charmed by the oracle. Their silver eyes are big old pools, and they look very, very taken by the oracle. And then, Zynon, you feel your device, the phone, as the oracle had mentioned, begin to buzz.
Oh. And Zynon pulls his phone off of his belt and looks at it
Press that button.
kind of awkwardly. And finally he makes his way over to the sofa as he connects the call.
Ding ding.
Oh.
And Artemis's face appears on the phone screen.
Nova. One moment, please.
Artemis.
Yes, that's right. Trust in her will. And then finally, looking back at you through this screen is Artemis. She seems to have been doing something with another strike team, perhaps. You could see the vague shapes of their office behind them through this little phone screen, and there they are. The patron saint of mortals. Nova, I was wondering if you had forgotten how to use your oracle.
Definitely
this
not
word.
the case.
Glad to hear it. Mission update?
This place is complicated.
Lumira takes her typical deep breath, and in full photographic memory detail from the second they've touched down up until the very second you connected this call.
Artemis takes it all in, as she always does when you speak, with attention, with love, with gold eyes that don't belong in her face. She listens, nods along, makes notes in the appropriate places, hums quietly occasionally, and then nods.
She leaves out her passing out, though. I would point that out.
Sayer clearly behaves and is hovering around Lumira as if something had happened. And Artemis would know this.
Artemis would also know when Lumira left details.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel it, the hawk-like gaze grabbing onto each of you. And then, after seeing Sayer, seeing Lumira, seeing Yinghe, the shadow in the background, sees Zynon, who has been not speaking. Not speaking very much at all. But she takes it all in, nods. It seems like my assessment that you would be back in no time at all was a wish of an old woman. You have your work cut out for you.
That's
And
putting
what
it
work is
mildly.
that?
Pardon?
This world has multiple shrikes. Rhododendron doesn't want our help.
You have faced much greater challenges in previous missions, Ash.
With clear instructions. At least somewhat clear. Bring the princess home. Find them. Move a box.
What princess? What box? These are the questions that go into every mission. She's deflecting, Zynon.
There's also the matter of, and Sayer trails off as he feels Zynon's energy off to the right of him.
He is bristling. It is not just his words that are not softened, not made nicer to speak to the hand of fate, someone who he always addresses with such respect. But beneath that usually perfectly calm exterior is a roiling storm crackling with... Is that fury that he is feeling?
Fate works in mysterious ways. Part of your role as an agent is it demands that you gather more information to find a way forward. Things are different now.
Mysteries have answers.
Some
One
mysteries.
answer.
You seem quite certain. Your mission in the Wild Sea did not have just one answer, nor did your mission in the City of Heaven.
But we had multiple objectives that were given to us, step by step, from the Oracle.
Maybe,
This one,
That's
it's not there.
maybe we just haven't gotten to it yet. It's like a second part of the update.
Every hunt is
there
different.
more?
I don't know. If your oracle has not given you an update, then there is no update. Every hunt is different. You cannot blame the stag for escaping your arrow. And often
There's
you
still
cannot.
just one stag.
Simon, what are you getting at?
This Mayday mission doesn't have enough information.
Then find more
Rhododendron.
information, Agent Ensch.
Lumira looks kerfluffled. Like, I don't think like her mouth is hanging open and it looks like she's watching like Wimbledon back and forth between looking at the phone and looking at Zynon and then peeping over to look at Sayir and Yinghe like, are y'all seeing this shit?
Sayer's horrified. Sayer's absolutely horrified. He, I think, like, reaches for you, and whether it's your shoulder or, like, your forearm, and he, like, just holds you out of, like, shock. And turns to Yinghe, showcasing how stunned he is, trying to communicate. I'm like, this is weird, and it's getting worse, and I don't know what to do about it. And it's just kind of like has his arm around their like waist. It's just like,
Artemis, the complexities of this mission have put us in more danger than anything else. Not having enough information, it's going to make it impossible. So either we just bring a Shrike, any Shrike, to Rhododendron, and that's enough,
You know that's not
or
the
we
answer,
don't have the answer.
Ash.
Well, that's not good enough, Artemis. Not having enough information has put us in... And he looks directly at Lumira. He does not hide it. In a lot of danger.
Outside. Now.
Zynon turns. Does as he is told. Takes the phone. And walks out the door.
There's something familiar in the way that Artemis holds her body as soon as you're alone. It reminds you of silver hair. It reminds you of 3 arrows, and it reminds you of armor covering her face. It reminds you of something bloody. It reminds you of the ghost. There's something sharp in it, something heavy in it, like her mouth is full of blood. Something is bothering you. In your 10 years as an agent, you have never cut me off so many times, nor undermined me so furiously in front of your teammates who are relying on you. Tell me, what's bothering you?
Behind his eyes is a cascade of questions that have gone unanswered. What harm did the Twilight Guard do looking for Oblivion? Where did Sing go? Where are all the ghosts at Trans? Why don't we have enough information? Why is her will not enough?
Do you say it out loud? Rather, how much do you say out loud?
I think after he bites his tongue as long as he can to take the scolding. Artemis, this isn't working.
What's not working?
I'm doing everything I can, and he catches one last time, but it can't stay in. Her will is not enough. I need more to trust in.
Listen to me very, very closely. Do not ever utter those words to me ever again. I know, Sinan. But do not ever say to me again what you have just said. Do I make myself clear? Whatever danger you think you may be facing with this Mayday mission, it does not pale to the danger that you are in if you speak those words aloud to me again. Do I make myself clear?
Yes. Yes, sir.
There are more questions in this world than there are lives, Sinan. You need to know which are the right to ask. You had faith last time, faith in your bow. What's different now?
And Zynon collects himself. He finds that dust in his bones that is his, the gold in his veins that is his, the bow in his hand, his Ema's rifle. Know behind that door every heartbeat beyond. They needed me. I failed them last time.
Failed them. You still stand, Zynon. You did not fail them. You did not fail me.
No.
And me is the word that she chooses, not her. Me. Not her.
He takes that word, 2 letters, folds it away in his mind and tucks it just next to all of those thoughts and those questions. And it quiets them for a moment.
Seems to quiet her, too. The armor falls away. Instead of 3 arrows, there's just 1, and then there's nothing. Was it an arrow, or was it the lance? Doesn't matter. She sighs. Grabs the bridge of her nose. Looks so tired that you start to wonder how many years exactly they've lived. How heavy they are. The cost of time. She softens too. I understand that you are lost. I understand that you need something. Do what I asked of you, Zynon, when I sent you here. Trust in each other. Trust in your mortal heart. I believe you should do as Ro has suggested. Gather information and learn from your instincts. There is a reason I put you in charge of this team, to look after them. You have good instincts. You said yes when I asked you if you wanted to live. It may not be what your oracle has asked of you, but I'm asking again. Follow that voice.
And again, a man swathed in dust takes a hand reached out to him and chooses her again. I will do it. I'll do as you ask. All of it. And he takes those words that he said, that she said to never say again, and he buries them deeper than the dust.
And so does she. And right before the phone disconnects and you lose sight of those eyes that don't belong to her, you see her bury something deep, too.
And the screen goes black.
Sinan takes a moment, lets the sound of this inferno rise in him. A world with less heartbeats and more souls drowning in a river. That sweet sound of oblivion, wherever Sing is. And then he turns and goes back inside of the apartment.
Lumira and Sayre. Sinan returns to the living room, closing the door behind him, and you notice that the phone screen is dark in his hand.
What the hell was that?
I got my clarification. I apologize. I was out of line.
Into...
We do what Rose says. Find answers. Find our Shrek. The right one. I'm gonna go resituate. And he finally takes his hat off, hangs it next to the door, and just starts walking towards the bedroom.
Gift of the Fang. I want to study Sinan.
Okay. Gift of the Fang. You have been doing it this whole time. This constitutes as studying someone for an extended period of time. So what does Sinan have to reveal to you, Lumira?
Let's see. It says a small secret about them.
He has taken 1,000 wounds since we have entered this plane. And the one that he still wears that won't heal is seeing Lumira hurt.
Mira kind of sobers up at that. She drops it.
Sinan, as you make your way back to a private place, I assume back to Yara and Sayre's bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. We pass some time here as sunlight starts to peer rosy fingers over the cusp of the horizon, and Yinghe helps Strike Team Nova draw all of the blackout curtains in every room in this house. And that's when all of you start to feel the exhaustion of the errand, of the ritual, of the everything since you left this place settle somewhere deep, deep, deep into your bones. And I have a very simple question for each of you. Do you sleep? Let's start with Sinan. You're muted, I think.
Sinan goes and sits on the bed and does not sleep. He just thinks and chews over every word.
gonna take
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to do a quick pause because I want to go to Val/Sayre next. I believe that he's reconnecting to the internet right now. Just a quick above the table pause as we wait.
Hi, I am here. Can you not see my camera?
No, we can hear your voice.
No,
We can't see
hear
your
you.
camera.
I
Do you mind
reload.
refreshing?
Yeah.
None foul with left chaos. Ooh, here he comes. Yay! Is he back on the screen? Okay, lovely. All right, Val, can you say just a few words? I want to make sure that we...
Hello. Is it
Okay,
me
great,
you're
lovely.
looking for?
Amazing. Okay, we're gonna go back into the scene. I'll transition us back in. What about you, Sayer? Do you sleep?
No. He doesn't sleep. He finds it hard to. He knows that that's the right choice to make, but between the watching of Lumira fall, the adrenaline that already awakened within him, and watching two of his most beloved mentors fight in front of him like that, he was going to say something. He was going to mention the danger, the Red River. Twice he was going to mention it, and twice he couldn't. It's not the time. Shit, it's not the time. And Sayer marches around the apartment for a bit before he exits to the hallway and plays guard dog by the door, leaning against the wall, staring out into the moonlight, chewing on everything that has happened and feeling like he is drowning deeper and deeper into that river. Fuck, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
Lumira, do you sleep?
I think Lumira probably does fall asleep, but it's not like willingly. It's more of like she's working on her assignment for next week at school and and kind of falls asleep at the computer itself. She's like in the middle of like retwisting her hair for the night while also doing her homework, so it's a bit of multitasking that's happening right now before it gets her hair gets wrapped up for the night. So
Are you doing
that's
this in your
what she's
bedroom?
doing.
Like
Mhm.
in bed?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so you've got like your laptop out, all of you have set up a station here, a little Lumira station. And Yinghe is also working on their hair. Actually, there's quite a lot of it. They've taken it out of their ponytail, and it is cascading in these like long, silky black waterfalls all over, like down their shoulder onto the floor. It's really, really long. And they're sitting on their side of the bed, but her hair is getting onto your side as well, as she's like desperately running a comb through it, but is unable to get all of it fully like flat and smooth again. And they're kind of like making these little noises of frustration as they try to tame their hair.
I think once like a particularly obnoxious section of hair like kind of like flops over in Lumira's direction, I think like the ends of it probably get into like one of her butters or her creams for her hair, and she just kind of lifts it up out of here and like tosses it back over to to Yinghe's side, like kind of like wiping the product off of her ends, and it's like, your hair is going to be so greasy if you use any of this. Do you need help?
Oh,
Like, do you
yes,
braid
please.
it or anything like that at night? Like, it just seems like it's so much.
Oh, I usually just take it out of my ponytail and I kind of just let it all. But it's gotten a little tangled, and
Well, that's because you don't do anything. You just let it be free at night. Do you? Come here. And Lumira like slaps her laptop shut, and like she has like a brush and a comb that's like off over to her side. She takes the comb and starts to like part Yinghe's hair and starts to like French braid it all the way down to like kind of tie it up at night so it's just like not all over the place. It's like you have so much, it's not going to do anything but tangle, so you have to do like something with it. My mom, I used to hate getting my hair done when I was a kid.
Mom?
I used to hate getting my hair done when I was a child, so I had to figure out how to make it last longer so it wasn't something that I had to do all the time. And this helps. And I think Lumiere is like really like a really fast braider. So like even though Yinghe's hair is like obnoxiously long, it still probably takes Lumiere maybe 15-20 minutes to a half hour to like just braid up her hair in general and kind of like pull it up into like a little bun back behind in the back of their head.
I love that. Yeah, you like your fingers work quickly, masterfully, and dexterously through these very like long and straight and thin kind of strands pooling all over the bed. In fact, I think you'd woken up maybe we could add this flavor with like a mouthful of Yinghe's hair the other night, and you're like, "This is enough. I'm done. No more."
Last night, I wake up with a Yinghe mustache just right across my Nope, we're just gonna.
Absolutely.
Make it
and
nicer
Yinghe
for
says,
all of us.
"Oh, thank you. Wow, you're very fast at this. You're even faster at this than the shadows on Zhiguang. They would be the ones to help me braid my hair and, you know, put it all nice-like."
Do you see this? And Lumiere just points to, at this point in time, like I think like her bonnet is on her head, like she's like finished tying her hair up, and it's like, I've been dealing with this my entire life. It's either braid fast or die trying.
And they let out a little giggle. How the voice is so small and soft in that moment. And then the two of you kind of settle into a nice companionable silence for a while. And as you're kind of like stringing her hair up into that bun at the back of their head, they say, Lumiere, can I say something?
Speak your truth.
Oh, okay, I will. I guess I've just been noticing that, well, we've all been noticing that. Well, I'll speak for myself. I can tell that you're in pain, I guess. Because I was in pain for a really long time. And, I kind of had to suffer by myself for a while, especially after Lalo died, but I don't want that to happen to you. It's not gonna happen to you, because, I'm here for you. We all are, but I'm here for you, no matter what happens.
Lumiere kind of smiles at that. When she was done, she did start like going back to doing her homework, but when Yinghe mentions her being in pain, like her fingers across the keys kind of slows to a stop, and she looks back over at Yinghe for a second. Her gaze is a bit softened. I appreciate that. But no, it's totally fine. Nothing to worry about here. I appreciate you looking out for me, though. It's very sweet of you. And Lumiere immediately goes right back to her homework.
Okay. Good night, morning, I guess. Good night, morning, Lumiere. And Yinghe starts to settle down into bed, kind of twisting their head as though they were expecting there to be lots of hair underneath them, but then making a, oh, this is nice, when there isn't.
Told you. And Lumiere goes back to typing.
And on that, we pull away from this bedroom and push out through the blackout curtains, where we see all of Inferno sprawling out from horizon to horizon as a blood-red sun rises up into the sky. We're going to cut to break there. So thank you all so much for tuning in so far. We're going to be back in just about 10 minutes. Enjoy the music and the tunes and the beautiful art and the sponsor shout out that we're going to have during this break panel. Love you all. See you soon. Spisho, Bisho. time it is. It's sponsor Connie time with a word from Hero Forge. Hero Forge has officially leveled up with kit bashing. When you become a pro member, you can place up to 20 more items anywhere on one of your Blorbos with their own independent scaling, rotation, and movement. You can make your character look exactly as they should, even if the specific clothing or accessory option isn't available at the base level. You just have to get a little creative. And because I love you, Transplaners, here's a special sneak peek at a kit-bashed version of Oblivion. Just look at those wings and that base. This would not be possible without the power of kit bashing. The combinations are literally endless, and you can print your kit bashed Blorbos as plastic minis, standees, digital STL files, or even Hero Forge's brand new color statuettes. Color statuettes are twice the size of a regular mini, and just look at this. I mean, look at how massive this is, and especially in comparison to a regular mini, you can really get into all the nooks and crannies and details that wouldn't be as apparent on a regular sized mini. Just look at how Oblivion dwarfs Oka here. And also, if you're a GM, consider busting out one of these bad boys during a boss fight to really get your players shaking in their boots. Oblivion agrees. Unlock the true power of Hero Forge with a Hero Forge Pro subscription starting at $3.99 a month. Get in there and start creating at bit.ly/transforge. Now, let's get back to the show. Or more likely, just more of the waiting room. Trust in her will. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chaos. We're just gonna hop right back into the back half of this session, starting with content warnings. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. So CWs for this session may include fantasy violence, blood, grief, trauma, vampirism, neck gore, romance, references to sex, complex character dynamics, memory loss, and mentions of spiders. If you're on Twitch, you can use !CW in the chat at any time to look at these content warnings. If you are on YouTube, then our mods will be dropping these content warnings in chat every now and then to remind you of what you can expect from this session. With that out of the way, let's get right back into the session. Strike Team Nova. Congratulations on completing your first ever errand. It's time for some bookkeeping. As you know, you won't be earning any influence for this errand because you haven't formally claimed a house. However, your actions have netted you 2 exposure, bringing your track back up to 4 out of 7. Additionally, your errand has affected the Fate of Inferno long-term project clock. The last we left it, you had ticked a very impressive 10 out of 16 wedges. Given everything you've learned from Harlow, from Mav and Bo, and during the errand itself, your coterie can tick an additional 3 wedges. That means you only have to tick 3 more wedges to unlock the Fate of Inferno. Furthermore, Lumira, you drank blood during this errand, and a lot of it. Given the special circumstances of your indulgence, let's say, you can clear your entire thirst track right now with no negative consequences. Except for one. The experience of drinking from your blood type, from someone who in that moment chose you, body, mind, and soul, it is etched indelibly within you. From now on, you can only clear up to a maximum of 2 thirst anytime you indulge. Unless you drink from your blood type. You'll always be chasing that thrill. Now, let's dive right back in to the sanguine streets of Inferno. Zynon. The Lazy Bear Pub and Grill is quickly becoming a familiar sight for sore eyes. As you approach this storied establishment of Inferno's diviest dining scene, the companion for your assignment lets out a small, wondering breath. Ying-He gazes at the pub in open awe from across the street, fascinated by the dingy lights and cramped booths visible through greasy windows. This is where you've been spending your time?
Yeah. It's, comforting. You don't like it?
No, I like it. It reminds me of a lot of the hostels and the pubs back home. You know, the ones run by thieves.
Yeah, maybe that's what feels like home. Come on.
Okay. And the 2 of you cross the street and head into the Lazy Bear Pub and Grill. As you walk inside, the bell above the door sings, signaling your arrival. And a gust of warm kitchen air blasts the 2 of you right in the face. And unlike the other time you were here, the Lazy Bear is quite busy. Most of the booths here are occupied, and a server you don't recognize flits between tables. Notably, almost every single person here is a vampire. A familiar face sits at the bar, nursing a tall drink of something dark and rich and red. They notice you come in. Their expression is unreadable, but something in their eyes glints. It's Diablo.
Zynon takes in the whole place, looks over every person, and when he gets to Diablo, who he didn't miss when he walked in, he kind of inclines his hat a little. And for a moment forgets that he's here with Ying-He as he steps forward. and then
Okay.
stops and looks over his shoulder at her. And all right, listen, there's a lot going on here. Let's go meet a friend.
That friend? And Nika points not at Diablo, but at another familiar face in this space, who is sitting at a corner booth. Sakti. She's currently playing cards, it seems, and there's a ton of other vampires at the booth. You see one of them throws down a hand and lets out a groan as Sakti laughs and scoops up a bunch of coins.
All right, more than one. Zynon makes a point as he walks past Diablo towards Sakti because he knows how the order of things should work here. He just kind of takes a not so quiet step towards Diablo, puts a hand on the counter, taps it gently. I'll be right back.
Diablo responds without verbalizing anything, but you see one of those eyebrows raise and a flash of gold across his teeth as he flashes you just a half smile, then lifts that glass to his lips and takes a sip. And you approach Sakti. She's in the middle of counting her winnings as several vampires get up and scoot past you in this rather crowded walkway, and others come to take a seat for the next round.
Zynon approaches and waits for Sakti to actually look at them because he is very aware of the power dynamic here and does not want to look like in front of all these people that he is stepping on her domain.
Someone else is dealing cards now for the next round, and Sakti hasn't looked at you yet, even though you're lingering quite nearby with Yinghe literally shadowing you. But then when she speaks, it's clear she's addressing you, though her eyes don't fall on you. Tell me it's good news, Esh.
No more werewolf problem.
That gets her attention. She pauses, looking up at you, then whistles low, and one of the other people who has just drawn a hand sets it down, gets up, and like gestures for you to take their place.
Satisfied, Zynon kind of scoots into the bar and into the booth, and this is Yinghe, my associate.
Oh, an associate of Esh's, huh? You share his proclivities? And that would be for...
He does not.
No, obviously. And makes another whistle. Someone else gets up, rather annoyed, and scoots out as Yinghe goes, "Oh, I don't have to. Okay, well, if you insist." And they scoot in and take that person's spot. Werewolf problem is no longer, you say? And what exactly does that mean? Will they rear their muzzles to bring us issue for another day?
It was a mercenary job.
Contract interference. Say more.
Someone was just hired to stir some trouble, make some mess in this town.
And he took care of it.
It is taken care of, yes.
And you see a small smile curling the edge of her hard mouth. She nods at you as you're dealt in, and you get the sense that this news is very, very, very good, Zynon. You've done extremely well for yourself. So well, in fact, that you and your entire coterie can add +1 favor with House Kuatoon.
Oh my gosh. And I figured I'd also clock in, but
Not tonight, Ash. Not tonight. You've earned a seat at this table. For now. We'll see how well you keep up with the cards.
I'm honored.
And coming by out from the bar is the server that you don't recognize, a small slender thing, and they serve everyone here small whiskey glasses of blood with rocks inside of them, ice inside of them, kind of slides them toward each of you and then goes. And Sakti picks up her whiskey tumbler and like raises it in your direction.
Zynon raises his, swirls it around a little.
And the two of you clink glasses, Yinghe as well, and the other person you're playing with too. You recognize her, Keliga. And
Yeah.
you all sip at the blood. But just as always, this kind of nice, smooth, low, cold blood doesn't really do it for you, does it, Ash?
It reminds him of the smell of Keliga's blood, and he tries to not look up at her as he drinks. He fails, just a little.
Keliga notices you looking at her and she raises her eyebrows in response, perhaps taking your interest for something else. But Sakti says, You know, my second in command has been mulling over something ever since you walked out of here with a bit of table between your teeth.
And
Well, Anu! Guess who's here? And peeking her head out into the service window is a very sweaty and kind of grease-stained, sleeves rolled all the way up, very muscular Anugata. Who? Is it? Oh, I've been waiting for this one. And she drops her rag and hands off whatever she's ordering to a different cook in the kitchen. And there's some like banging around back there. And then she comes out from behind the kitchen and approaches your table with like a very greasy apron on. Kind of stands with both feet planted wide. Zynon Esh. Judging from the whiskey glasses and the seat at Sakti's table, I'm gonna assume you gave her some very good news, which means, come here.
oh, Zynon gets up very quickly. He's settling back into his eagerness.
You follow Anu behind the counter, and she kind of explains as she leads you, with various eyes of vampires following the two of you, with degrees of interest glimmering in their depths. And Anugata says, Don't think I didn't notice that what I cooked up wasn't quite enough for you the last time you were here, Ash. And don't think I didn't notice that your whiskey glass is mostly full. So I've got something that's really gonna whet your appetite. And again, you see that point of pride that you noticed last time flare up in her.
He recognizes this kind of challenge, like when he told his ma that he didn't want to have just sauteed legs anymore. And he smiles. This is home to him. Food, the challenge of care, loving not because it's easy, but because it's in the details. It's in everything. And he is finding himself fighting against that hunger, but not because he's going to lash out at Anugata, but because he's so eager he feels like he might vibrate through the floor.
I think your like jitteriness and your eagerness is quite palatable, like it's quite noticeable. And Anu says, slow your roll, we haven't even gotten to the good part yet. You don't want to release all the energy that you have a bit too early, Ash. Catch. And she throws something sharp through the air at you.
He picks it up. He tries to catch it without whatever sharp thing is getting him.
You are able to grab it handle first. It is a paring knife. The blade of it is only about as long as your middle finger. And she holds up another paring knife, kind of like in her hand in a very, you notice this stance very well, like a very street fight kind of stance, low and in. She goes, if you want a drink that's as hot as you like it, come and get one.
Zynon flips the blade once, twice in the air, holds it reverse grip. This isn't his Emo's talon, but he still knows how to fight with it. And he lets the flashiness lead in before he springs towards Anugata.
As you do, you launch yourself with this blade in a really cool reverse grip, and all of the vampires in here, at this point, they've like crowded kind of around the bar, and you notice a few of them are now taking bets on who's gonna draw blood first. There's like money flowing. Sakti's still in her booth, as is Yinghe, but they're both looking. Diablo's definitely looking, has a front row seat to this. You come at her. So how are you trying to draw blood first from Anu?
He wants to dive the first swing from this bear,
Okay.
knowing that she is probably ready. Well, she's obviously ready, but she's also she's clearly knows how to fight and to fight other vampires. So he is anticipating a blow from a ghost. No, he's not here. A blow from someone who is used to fighting.
So let's resolve how well you do in this little brawl here with a single roll. Based on how you're describing Zain's approach, it sounds like study or survey to me, though you could also pitch hunt.
I'm definitely gonna pitch a hunt. This is
Great.
He's hungry.
I love that. Go for it. Make sure to cut the dice that you have because you're quite thirsty still.
Oh yeah, I think I'm rolling at a disadvantage.
Oh no, so 2d6 and you take the lower?
Yeah, because I think it's minus 2d for being ravenous.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's try to get you some blood. Go for it.
They're both 2s, so I can't do worse.
Okay, that is... Let me take a look here. That is a bad outcome. That's okay. That would mean that she just draws blood first, so you lose
Sure,
whatever
yeah.
bet's going on. Right, but you still hold your own here. And your position and effect, nothing here too bad. Risky and standard. She's not trying to kill you, and you're not trying to kill her. This is a skirmish. It's all in good fun. You dodge and duck, and you are able to evade some of her initial maneuvers, but then she moves with surprising speed given her huge size, and she kind of nicks you in the arm, and a bit of your blood splatters onto the ground. A third of this pub groans as they lose the bet, including Yinghe. They had bet that you would draw blood first, but most of this room, they like let out a cheer, and money is tabulated and flows between hands. Where do you get her first? Like, where on her body do you open up the first wound?
I think after she tags him, probably pretty clearly wherever she wanted to, he just takes the blade, and when he should dive away in pain, he comes in quickly right to the neck. Not for a killing blow, but just to
little
slice her just under the jawline.
Yeah, you graze her under the jawline and you open up a red line. She lets out an impressed laugh as you don't move away from the pain, and the two of you exchange a few more blows. These are all shallow wounds. They sting a little, but it's nothing that's too grievous, so I'm just gonna give you a tier 1 knife wounds.
Yeah.
After some time, the blood is flowing, the adrenaline is pumping through your once dead heart, this feeling of excitement, this brawl causing your veins to hum with a memory of life, a whisper of it, rousing the dust within that heart of yours to bloom. And then there's a moment as the two of you kind of spring apart where Anu's like arms, her neck, a bit of her chest is like covered in some like light gash wounds, and so are you. Both of you are kind of dripping in each other's blood. And you can smell it, Zion, and you smell her blood. It is sweet, it is hot, it is pumping, it is full of risk, it is full of reward. How do you go in for the drink?
Zidon stopped hearing the people who are watching. At some point, with all this blood flowing, he's taken back to fighting in the barn, learning how to throw a better punch, times when things were good and he would fight, he would eat, and he would lose himself in the people that he loved. And so he falls into that memory, and as the blood begins to stir that hunger, he comes into Anu, and I think any place that he finds blood, that same eager tongue that lapped up all the blood on the table, like a tongue in worship, he licks the blood off of her.
Where on her body?
I think the first place he gets is like the back of her arm.
Okay, like right here, like on the forearm.
Yeah.
Kind of like in between the elbow and the wrist. I love that.
Yeah.
Or maybe on the bicep.
Yes, bicep. Easy.
Okay, yeah. Your head comes in, fangs flashing, and you latch onto her bicep. She lets out a as you begin to suck and lick, and that hot blood courses into your mouth, fills it, and down your throat. I'm gonna have you clear some thirst here. So we are going to use the special indulge move. Let me just scroll down here because it's been 2 weeks since I've played this. Bum, 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 bum. It's like your thirst. There you go.
Drinks. He looks up at Anu with excited, joyful eyes as he gets the meal that he actually needed.
Okay, I love that. So what is your weakest attribute as you're slaking your thirst?
They're all the same.
Okay, great. So why don't you just roll 1d6 and we don't have to worry about any modifiers here because you're actively drinking.
It's a 5.
That's a 5. You're drinking from your blood type here, technically. Yeah. So that would be 10 thirst that you would clear. So you do overindulge here.
Yeah.
So which of the overindulgence consequences would you like to take? Steal someone's drink, brag about your exploits, tap out the prey, meet someone, or get shit-faced?
I think... I think this is a place to meet someone. He's being a freak on main in front of a bunch of people.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Your mouth closes around that bicep. The blood flows in. Anu lets you take from her for like a minute as like she and you can both feel that thirst being sated as you're coming back to your senses. You've been walking around so fucking ravenous for so like days now on end that this is like finding an oasis in the middle of the desert. You feel as close to alive as you possibly can as a vampire. And then she shoves you off of her, right, to prevent you from going a little too far and tapping her out. And there's kind of like a roar, right, as people are like pounding on the bar, right, other people, they're chanting fight, 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 right, as it's clear the fight's coming to an end. There's like a big cheer. And amidst all of this, Anu kind of like pushes you away for a second. You stumble against the counter, and then she grabs the front of your shirt and pulls you in a little bit closer and says something to you that only you can hear. No one else can hear this. And she says, "You're not what I expected, Ash."
You were delicious.
I know. I'll taste you soon. Go, have fun. And she pushes you aside and kind of widens the gap between the two of you again.
Zidon stumbles back, now definitely satiated in feeling him come back to himself, but also he almost feels warm even though he's not alive. And he looks around the room, suddenly remembering, oh, I came here with Yinghe. Oh. Diablo's here. There are other people here.
Yeah! Yeah, the blood is flowing back to your brain and to the rest of your body, and you're starting to gain an awareness of your situation. The someone new you're meeting here, I'm gonna say, is the real Anu. That moment between the two of you, that almost intimate moment. And then you kind of look around and you realize where you are again. Saxi is waving at you for her to come join her once more, and you notice that Diablo has taken up residence where Kelliga once was, who has kind of rotated else offward to fraternize with someone else. And Yinko's looking at you with these huge silver eyes. They've never seen you do anything like that before.
Connie, I have a funny question actually, since
Sure.
The real Anu, Zidon not only just met her in a emotional, poetic, wonderful sense, but also, Connie, what gift does Anu got to have?
Oh, are you invoking one of your abilities?
I would like to know what new aspect Zidon experiences from his dark gift.
Ooh, that's true, because you've taken from a vampire, so now you can also take an aspect of her dark gift as well, and you know what it is. You feel, as the blood settles in you, strength coursing through your body, through your bones, a kind of physical endurance as well. You get the sense that you're not only going to be able to dish it out, but take it much better than you're used to, at least until dawn. That is the gift that Anu has, gift of the bear.
Zayden squares his shoulders back. They feel more powerful. And he feels like he knows Anugata a little better as he walks with that blood, with that dark gift, and rejoins the table with Sakti.
Good showing. Sorry to say that I bet against you for first blood, but what's to be expected, right? Anu's Anu.
I'll take losing.
I bet for you.
I do appreciate that.
I lost a decent amount of money, I think, but that's okay. Zainin, Yinka says, leaning in a bit as Sakti starts dealing cards again to the four of you. You're really good at that.
Think of it as my time with thieves and those sorts of places that we were talking about outside.
I see. You look really happy here, Zainin. You know, behind the counter with Anugata, you're playing cards too. Happier than anywhere else I've seen you, really. Why do you pretend to be someone else around Sayer and Lumira?
I'm not someone else, I'm just... And he stumbles over that lie. I don't think anyone's ever asked him that. This is just who I used to be.
Used to be. Looks like to me that you still are him.
I guess some things don't leave us.
Well, I like how you look when you're happy.
Thanks. I like you being happy too. Here. With Sayer and Lumira.
Oh, thank you. And with you. And the Oracle too, I suppose. It's interesting. And Artemis. Yeah. Kind of. We haven't really gotten to know each other properly for me, but it doesn't matter. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy you're happy. And I want you to be able to look like that around us, too.
Thanks. It's hard to leave home. Sometimes you bring it with you, I guess.
Yeah. The only thing I really have from Zhiguang is, well, my memory of it, I guess. I don't know what I'd do if I lost that.
Can't you go back?
Hey, it's your turn. Sakti gestures at the table, bringing you back to the poker game. And you catch Diablo's eye over your hand of cards as he's studying your face, studying for tells. He lets out that small smirk again, that glint of his grill, as he says, "Nice showing out there, Ash."
It was alright. You know I can do better.
I do. You're quite used to getting your ass kicked by vampires here, aren't you?
Not just here. Well, you can show me that anytime you want.
Oh, can I now? Zainin, should we ask Diablo about the whole Devash thing?
Oh, yeah. I need a meeting you might be able to help me with, Diablo.
Say more. Lumira and Sayer. The two of you stand outside the stately wooden doors of an Inferno University lecture hall. Beyond those doors, you can hear the measured, logical tones of the professor of House Huyen discussing some topic or other relating to critical psychology. This is an undergrad lecture. It's way below Lumira's weight class. You're not here to take a class together. You're here because Lumira Nova is an excellent student, and she's determined to prove it. But first, you must wait. As the two of you loiter upon the polished marble floors of this academic institution, who breaks the silence first?
Of course it's Sayer. Because why would Lumira? Sayer has been fiddling with the red thread tied around his finger. Almost like he's trying to pull it loose with how violently he's tugging at it. But it doesn't move in his finger. And neither does the thought of what happened to Lumira. That's too far, that's too much for him to see that. And as he pushes and pulls, like the way the moon pushes and pulls the waves of the sea, he finally breaks the silence.
Speak your truth.
What are you keeping from me?
Lumira looks taken aback for a second as she's fiddling with her paper. It was in one of those clear plastic things with the little clip binder on the side. And she was kind of taking it off and putting it back on, fidgeting to make sure it was perfect. Before she stops and looks back at Sayer at that question. What are you talking about?
I know you're keeping something from me. I can feel it. There's this... I feel a part from you, Lumira.
Lumira kind of smirks, and then it's so low you can barely hear it, but she scoffs. Just a tad.
I'm not trying to fight.
I'm not fighting either. I'm distant. I've been here this entire time.
I
go
know
to
you
school,
are.
I help. I heal you guys. What else do you want from me, Sayer?
It's not what you're doing, Lumira. Of course you do everything. Of course that is the case. That's not what I'm asking of you. I know there is a thorn in you. Something that hurts you, that pulls you and rends you. You are here for us, you heal us, but we're here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here to protect you, Lumira, but I feel this distance between us. Do you not trust me to tell me what that rends within you?
Lumira looks at you, genuinely looks you in your face before she places her paper down beside her on the bench, tucking the corners of it underneath her thigh just in case the wind happens to blow and take it away. And she focuses back towards you and grabs your hand, the one with the red thread that's tied around it, fidgeting with the string. I am distant. Because I have to be. For the time being. School. And you should be focusing your time on Yinghe.
The oak doors open. Over 100 students stream out, carrying book bags and tomes, consulting smartphones and tablets. When this exodus dies down, the two of you can see Professor Ifueko at the bottom of the lecture hall beyond, gathering her books into her bag. And without turning around, the professor calls over her shoulder. Are the two of you going to stand there all night?
Professor Toyin. And Lumira will let go of Sayir's hand, grab her paper, and walk down to the front of the class.
Ah, if it isn't Lumira Nova. But our class isn't until later this week.
I understand, but I am nothing if not an overachieving student. And Lumira slides her paper across the desk like she's making some type of deal in like poker or something. Just
Professor Ifueko raises an eyebrow and takes this from you. Is this what I think it is?
5 days early, of course it is.
Huh. And she looks down and starts thumbing through your paper. She kind of like pauses on like the abstract page, like the introduction page, and then like flips. She only lingers for a few seconds on each page, but why do you get the feeling that she has read every single word in those few seconds? By the time she gets to the very end, she lets out a kind of impressed noise from her nose and places it on her table, looks at you and says, "Very impressive. Very impressive indeed, Lumira Nova. But can you put your thesis up on that board for me, from memory?"
Lumira laughs, genuinely like a little scoff, and goes, "You have no idea." And she turns sharply around, walks directly up to the paper, like up to the chalkboard, and picks up chalk and starts writing bullet point number 1, and is writing verbatim her outline of her paper.
As you do, she lets out a small laugh and says, "Major sources as well, and counter arguments too, I expect."
Of course.
As
she
you
will
describe
move
those.
over
Yeah.
to the others. Like you see her like write a 1, like a mini 1 right after one point, and then go over and to the other side and immediately start writing the source of where she got it from, and right back into it.
I love that. Yeah, she gives a small, low laugh, low in her throat at that. Kind of shakes her head a little bit with a smile as you do so. And that leaves Professor Ifueko and Sayir together back by the table as Lumira scratches at the chalkboard.
Sayir's face in the moment before the doors open up flashed a moment of heartbreak. Hearing what Lumira said, to feel that distance remain. But that face is replaced right now with pride, watching Lumira in her element. Seeing the way she handled that paper, of course. She's been the highest achieving student when they were in school. And asking her to write out her paper out on the chalkboard? Child's play. So Sayir looks at Lumira's hand as it caresses the chalk and beams with pride.
What was that, Sam? What was that, Sam? You want to speak up?
I looked up and I realized I wasn't muted.
Okay. All right, Sayir. Tell us more about Lumira caressing the chalk.
Well, he just admires her, beams with pride, longing, devotion.
And Professor Ifueko says, at your side, though you're not looking at her, her voice addresses you. You care about her.
Oh, sorry, Professor.
Well, that
yes,
much is
of course.
obvious. What's not exactly obvious to me or anyone else, I gather, especially not yourself, is why.
Seer was about to introduce himself before he finds himself in this interesting conversation / interrogation. And Sayer kind of like is taken aback. Why?
Yes. Why do you care about her? What is it about her that you are so protective of? And those eyes travel between the two of you. She's clocked that in an instant.
Sayer feels like he's being questioned by the hand of fate themselves. He's had a conversation just like this that is all one-sided questions and one-sided answers, and he is never going to know whether he is right or wrong. So you might as well lead with his chest. Everything, Professor. Everything.
What constitutes everything?
I remember the day that we met. Every detail. And when I saw her eyes, I saw everything. Her ambition, her drive, her brightness, her laugh. The way her brows furrow and knit when she sees a problem, not in frustration, in interest, in challenge. Like it's a little game, a little puzzle for her to unfurl and unearth, solve, and the pride, the light that she exudes before, during, after.
So why is there a wall between the two of you?
I don't know.
I'm not talking about the
wall.
wall around her heart, Sayer. You had not introduced yourself to her.
I know, because he was trying to find any opportunity to introduce himself.
I'm talking about the wall you put there.
Me?
Yes, you.
Professor, I hadn't said my name, and what is this?
Oh, you don't have to. Maybe I can read minds. Or maybe I just do my due diligence when newcomers roll into Inferno hot and screaming. I guess we'll never know.
Fair enough. I'm not putting a wall around myself. I'm by her side.
What would you call it then? Armor? As befitting of a knight?
It's my duty to protect her.
Your duty to protect her. And she chews over those words like a fox that has a rabbit between its teeth but hasn't chomped down yet. Your duty to protect her. So you see all of these things that you liked about her, her ambition, her drive, her intelligence, and you think she needs a knight.
Lumira doesn't need... Lumira doesn't need people to do these things. I choose to.
Does she know this?
I hoped that it would be made clear over the many moons we've worked together.
And what is it exactly that a protector, a loyal knight, does?
Protects, guards, stays steadfast.
And
To
what
be
does a
there.
knight not do? What does a knight never do? What is forbidden to a knight?
Sayer stays silent. Sayer's I think there's a moment where he is gazing over at Lumira's back to ensure that this conversation is still out of earshot. He's trying to speak quietly, and as soon as Professor Toyan asks that question, his gaze snaps back at her. A pointed question that he knows the answer, but he's not verbalizing.
Identity is a fascinating topic, not just in my field, but in many other fields as well. You see, the questions are, is identity something that is innate to us, something that each of us is born with? Or is it something that we choose for ourselves? Or is it socially determined? Does the society we are born into give our identities to us in such a way that it conceals the hand that feeds us, that we think these things are innate, but in fact they are socially determined? Or is it a combination of the two? Or is thinking that it's a combination of the two playing into the fallacy of compromise? Have you heard of the Ship of the Bull Prince?
Sayer follows that entire train and clumsily out of his mouth. No, Professor.
It's a metaphor. A metaphor based on mythology. There's a ship, you see, a beautiful ship built by multiple different craftspeople, a ship that sails, but then over time, various parts of the ship are replaced. The steering wheel after a bad storm, a part of the hull, part of the decks, the flag itself, the main mast, other masts, until eventually every single part of that ship is made from something entirely different than what it was initially constructed with. Now, is that Ship of the Bull Prince still the Ship of the Bull Prince, or is it something else entirely?
Sayer is out of his depth with this metaphor and this discussion he's following, and he just is following it and just says, it still forms the ship. Professor, I don't. Please speak plainly.
I believe you think of your identity as a role you must play. A specific kind of ship for specific types of journeys. This role, this journey of protector, of knight. But you see, within this role, even though it is a nice cocoon, it's very soft, it's very comforting, it's protective. It doesn't just protect other people, it protects you. But it also prevents you from being anything more than that. And it forces you to live in black and white. It doesn't give you permission to reach beyond, across, break down walls.
But what if I'm already reaching? What if I'm reaching out to her, Professor?
And at that, Professor Ifueko softens. She looks at you, really looks at you, in a kind of similar way that Lumira does sometimes, that you feel like she's peering right into your soul. And she sees it. The sincerity. The genuine desire within you, the genuine care you have for Lumira. She says, I think, perhaps, it might be helpful for you to know that sometimes what someone needs isn't someone else to shield them from all the pain that there is in the world. I'm afraid that that's not possible. As much as we try, and as much as that attempt comes from a place of care, sometimes what someone needs is simply for someone to hold them while they struggle and suffer. Someone who makes sure that they never struggle alone.
Something clicks inside of Sayer. now that he's had a moment to breathe and think about it. Fuck, this is the same conversation with Ying-He again. Has he gotten this all wrong? And he looks over to Lumira's back, watching her write her thesis. And Sayer begins to chew on the thought, the conclusion, that maybe he's been going about this wrong this entire time. But how to remedy it, he doesn't know. And I think he looks back at the professor sheepishly, like a child found out. I feel like I know. I feel like I often only know one way of doing things. One path to take.
Well, it is never too late to walk another. Nova, let's see your work. And Professor Toyin wheels herself over to the blackboard. As Lumira, you turn around, confident and ready to explain. Rhododendron. Your sister makes music in a refurbished warehouse amidst abandoned factories, rusted train lines, and defunct steel mills. As you push up the corrugated metal garage-style doors, it makes a horrific clanging and screeching noise that echoes throughout vast concrete acoustics. And yet, to Yara, this warehouse is as much a home as the Haveli is. In some respects, it's even more of a home for her, especially as of late. Inside this warehouse, you see her living space. It is sparse, but very specifically adorned. You see a black mattress just sitting on the floor, a mini fridge, empty vapes all around, overflowing ash cans, posters of bands that even you have barely heard of. This is Yara's happy place. As for Yara herself, she is currently blasting industrial grunge from massive 4-foot-tall speakers. She's standing at her workstation, which has an amalgamation of cords, mics, wires, countless instruments, pedals, speakers, a drum set, all connected in some truly indecipherable fashion. There's even a grow bag of death cap mushrooms hooked up to a synthesizer, playing aleatory dodecaphonic notes over ground-shaking bass and drums deep enough to make the dead marrow in your bones vibrate. At the mixing console, Yara is fiddling with keys and dials until the random mushroom noises line up with the pumping rhythm of the drums and a more structured Carnatic scale. She picks up an electric guitar and starts just fucking ripping on it, just all the way up and down the fucking fretboard, just going for it. And at the same time, she steps up to a mic and she vocalizes. A rich and full-bodied voice tears out of her slender throat. It is a melody, it is a prayer, it is a ragam tanam pallavi, pressure-cooked into industrial rock, so warbling and ominous and painful and warlike that Yara's head shakes with the focus and technique required to keep her voice in front of the rhythm and not beneath it. She is so inside this that she doesn't notice you enter, Ro. How do you address your sister?
Ro walks in with earplugs already in to her ears. This is not the first time that Ro has visited Yara at their studio. And so they already know that this is going to be loud, and if Ray wants to have any chance at actually having a conversation with Yara, protecting their hearing is a must. But they walk in, and I think along sort of the sliding door, they kind of like slide it open and lean against the frame at first and just take in Yara in her element. And they watch, arms folded across their chest as per usual, but in a more open way. Like it's just an affect of guardedness rather than anything real or true, a performance, if you will. And Ro watches Yara, and there's a smile that goes across her face. Something genuine, something proud, maybe? And they wait. They don't interrupt Yara. They would never dare. And they wait for her to finish this piece of this song, whatever it is that Yara is trying to capture in this moment. And instead of calling out to their sister, Ro tries to feel what it is that Yara is feeling, channeling right now into this song.
Would you like to study?
If I could.
Okay, you can pitch a different action as well, but I think this would necessitate a roll, yeah.
Could I pitch survey instead of study?
Absolutely.
Okay,
100%.
all right.
All right.
In that case, I've got 2d6.
I'm gonna say your position is controlled, your effect is standard.
Okay, gotcha. Dice, be nice to me. I'm trying to be nice to my sister. Okay. I got a 2 and a 6.
That's a 6 is a full success. Yes. Okay. You can tell pretty much exactly everything that she's trying to accomplish here. It's very Yara, blending genres, but everything about her artistic signature is big, right? She goes for big emotions, big, bold textures and flavors. Sometimes it can be almost overwhelming. Like she has so many ideas that she all wants to just fit into one track, and it's really hard for them to separate all the ideas into separate songs, separate places. This, you see the potential of it. It could be one of her best songs yet, in your opinion. There's emotion here. The main emotion here is rage. That's very clear. It's very angry. The specific raga that she is kind of improvising off of is one for one of many ancestral gods of war. That frequent inferno. She's calling on that ancestral spirit. The exact kind of rage, it's clear that she's improvising the words. It's just kind of like a stream of consciousness right now. She hasn't locked down the lyrics yet. She's currently in a bridge of sorts, and she's trying to figure it out, because the bridge is where the song becomes. It hasn't become yet. It's just kind of angry, but she hasn't settled on a direction to funnel the rage.
And when Yara kind of like dies down from this stream of consciousness, when it kind of goes from this raging river to a trickle, when there is a little bit of a lull in the music, Ro steps inside, closes that sliding door behind them, and calls out to Yara, her voice echoing in this warehouse as it does. Are you still trying to separate everything out?
Fuck! She shakes her head. She notices you. As she goes over to her mixing console and presses a spacebar, and all of the music stops, like at the same time. The synths kind of vibrate out for a minute, and then they also like die down. Yes. No. I don't know. I don't know what I want this song to be anymore. I don't even know if I have it in me to finish it.
No, I think that's the problem, is you're trying to turn it into multiple different things. You're taking a scalpel to the song and trying to carve it out into different nicely delineated pieces. Leave it as one big whole, quite frankly contradictory thing. I want to call it a mess, but it's not in an insulting way, in a good way, like that's the point.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something. Yeah, I think I've been trying to edit as I go, and I think I just need to let it all be, instead of trying to scrape away at it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got kind of there's a lot here. There's a lot here.
Are the mushrooms too much?
No, but that's my point. I think actually, I feel like you're holding yourself back.
Holding myself back. She picks up like a jug of frozen, like half frozen blood, like from the mini fridge, and you're right.
Just be
You're right.
in it. All of the things, even if it feels like it's too much, even if it feels like you're not supposed to, even if it feels like that's from a different song, a different piece, something that wouldn't make sense to people. No. use that. Use that. Put it in there.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah. And she picks up one of her many notebooks scattered around the space and like a heavy pen and like scrawls something down into it, taking notes, literally, from you. And as she scrawls, she like puts a big period at the end of whatever she wrote. And then looks back up at you.
Is that for the release? The album release party?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I've been going over my all the songs on my album, and, just trying to fine tune and make sure it's good. And this one just kind of came to me. It wasn't originally on the album, but it just came to me after the after the bloodbath, I guess.
Knowing you, I feel like this album is going to change every single day until the actual release party.
Yeah, fucking tell me about it. But I assume that's not why you're here?
Well, the Huyans are actually why I'm here. The release
foxes.
party, yes, the very same. The ones who so graciously have offered you a space to talk about your music and
Of course.
give you, an opportunity.
How could I forget?
And you can see, Yara can see, because Yara has grown up with Ro and has seen the way in which they have tried to emulate a better, someone that they are trying so desperately to be. And so you can see those gears kind of like shifting in Ro's face, in their head, as Ray maybe fights an instinct within themselves and chooses a different dialogue tree, so to speak. So, you know that as a member of House Sakura, as the littlest spider, it affords you a certain level of, let's say, prestige, right?
Yeah, sure.
Well, it seems that some people may have noticed and may... Dr. Fueko Toyen has another opportunity for you. For us, as a house.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure if you've met her yet. I feel like you might have in a previous bloodbath that we threw maybe a year ago or something. Anyway, Dr. Fueko wants to propose Ta's hand in marriage with yours. To unite the houses. House Takrar and House Huyin, the foxes and the spiders.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And there's there's a surprise in Ro. Like, they were expecting some sort of resistance. Like, this was really hard for Ro to say to Yara that, like, hey, you have to maybe get married to someone. And so I think Ro is taken aback that Yara seems so unbothered by it.
Yeah, Yara had, when you were kind of building this up, like this was like a huge reveal, they kind of leaned in, crossed their arms with concern, but then you mentioned the arranged marriage and they just completely relax. They like drop their guard, kind of fiddle with something on their laptop, and they go, "Yeah, sure, that's fine, whatever." Honestly, I was kind of expecting it.
Really?
Well, not with a niece specifically, a daughter, but generally, I figured mom was probably gonna put me to work in some way or other.
Right. Yeah. I guess well, as long as you are in agreement, we figure probably the best time to announce the engagement would be at your album release party.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess it's on their home turf. Yeah, that's fine. I'll figure out a way to put it into the set list, probably at the end, yeah? Do they want, like, a song to go with it? Because it's a little too late to kind of change my flow right now.
I don't think that the Huyans are really all that interested in memorializing this in music. I think it's really more about bringing the houses together in the new age of Inferno, yeah?
Yeah, sure, okay, yeah, that's fine. Whatever, that's okay. Is there anything else to go with it, like, specific... Like, what's the arrangement like? Can I still... Do we have to live together, or are we gonna figure that out later?
I think that's up to you and Anise to figure out whatever works best for the two of you. You, of course, will retain your name and house with the spiders,
Of course.
and Anise will retain hers with the foxes. You're functionally securing our interests with each other, making sure that whenever House Huyon wants something done, that we can make sure that it happens, and vice versa. It's
Totally.
good for us.
Yeah, love is just a currency, right?
Well, love isn't real, but insofar as it could be, sure.
Right. And Yara looks down at that, something intimate rising up in her. But then she looks back up at you, and then she sees it, really. She sees that dialogue tree that you're going down, the specific words you're choosing, the path in this conversation, the social maneuvering. And she says, well, how do you feel about it, Ro?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's good for the house. If we have one other house that won't oppose the ways in which we want to better Inferno, that's good for us, right?
I said, how do you feel about it, Ro? Not Mom.
And Rose stutters for a second. Because how Willow feels and how the house feels is how Ro feels. What's good for the house is good for Willow, is good for Ro, is good for Yara, right? And there's this calculus going on in Rare Head in this sort of stuttering moment, and I think quite literally Ro's voice stutters as Ray tries to give an answer. I just hope that you are happy with Anise.
Right.
And there is a hint of a truth in that is couched in the web that is our house, that is our mother, that is all of the responsibilities that are put on our shoulders. But there is a tiny bit of a truth trapped in the web like a fly, wriggling to get free. Ro does want Yara to be happy.
Yara sees it. Rather, Yara feels it. Feels the fly against the vibrations of the web on her own part of the web, her own corner of the house. The corner that she must still uphold despite everything. And she says, thanks. You know, you don't have to worry about me with this whole marriage thing. I'll be fine. I figured it was just a matter of time. Honestly, I'm surprised this didn't come sooner. Given all the alliances we have to forge, what not.
I guess I just figured that it wouldn't come for you so soon. Myself being unwed and all.
Well, I mean, you're the head of the house now, really. Well, kind of, almost. You're gonna be the head of the house after Mom, so...
Heir Regent.
Makes sense that you have to keep your prospects open, know what I mean? If this
Right.
arranged marriage is gonna help Trakar, then, you know, obviously I'll do it. For the family. And there's truth there, too. Yara, despite her occasionally, or rather, most of the time, disaffected attitude, really does care about the family, about the house, about what it means to be a spider.
And Ro can feel that. Wherever in Yara's part of the web that pings. Whatever part, whatever strand she pulls on. That connects all the way to Ro's section of the web. That connects all the way to a section of the web that has frayed. That has been fraying for a long time. And they hold that for a moment. And I think their shoulders and their body, which had gotten a little bit tense during this conversation in anticipation of a fight, of resistance, of having to force Yara into a decision that they did not want to make. there is a release of that tension, almost gratitude within Ro that they didn't have to do that. And instead, Ro, I think, closes a little bit of the distance between themselves and Yara and looks at all of this like truly Rube Goldberg machine of instruments that she has created.
Oh, 100%.
And kind of like runs their hand along like the bag of mushrooms and like looks at sort of this contraption that's been set up. And not looking at Yara says, okay, well, that's settled then. And if you need anything at all to make Toyin or Anise or any of the foxes happy, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll make sure to reach out. I mean, love isn't for us, right? So this is probably the best way this could have happened.
I think it's the only way it could have happened.
She opens her mouth to say something, and you can see the word, the name. It's about to form. A very familiar name. But she doesn't say it.
I think Ro even sees that, right? Sees it in the second that it's forming, taking shape on Yara's tongue, and before Yara can even make the decision to not go there, Ro pipes up a little bit louder, their voice reverberating against the walls, the concrete in this space. Is it okay with you if I stay and for a bit to finish this out? I'm kind of curious about this one.
Yeah, usually I wouldn't let anyone watch my creative process because I don't want anything, any foreign vibes messing with my groove, but I guess you can stay.
Foreign vibes.
Yeah, like outside
or blood, Yara.
Influences. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, that's why I'm letting you stay, like only you'd be able to stay. And Mom, I guess, because I wouldn't be able to say no to her. All right, have a seat on the mattress or the ground.
And I think Ro will go and take a seat on the black mattress. And I think will kind of like help themselves to one of the blood cans from the mini fridge.
Yeah.
And we'll
her
like
back is
mid sip is just gonna like gesture like carry on to
yeah. Her back is to you when you do that, but she says, "You're gonna get me another one." As she starts like pressing play again and picking up the guitar and everything like it starts blasting again. And Ro, as you sit there and drink this blood canister and listen to your sister's honestly really good, very loud music, you think back to that name she almost formed in her mouth. And you don't know if that first letter was going to be an A or a T. Strike Team Nova. The four of you, in your own corners of Inferno, wrap up your individual businesses and you touch base via phone
and Oracle.
News is shared about Diablo's assistance, and a locale of a rendezvous is arranged. It is finally time for your coterie to meet the Shrike. And we're going to end the session there. I thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm sorry, Sam, but them's the breaks. I don't make the rules. Even though I literally do.
You literally do. Like, you are the only person in charge of it.
You are the rule maker.
You are
There's a higher power than me, and their name is C. Thomas. My name is has been Connie. Is Connie still?
Has been.
Has been Connie.
You can find me across the internet at by Connie Chong. I'm gonna pass along introductions to Humna, I suppose. Are you on screen? Yes. Okay,
I
Humna,
am,
to our
yes.
incredible guest. Go for it.
Hello! Hi everyone, my name is Humna, I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer and producer. You can find me all over the social medias at Lilith TTRPG, keeping an eye out on my things coming up. Oh, actually, very soon, in like less than 2 weeks, I will be announcing a new project that I've been working on for, I kid you not, 2 years. So I'm very excited to release this one, and you should pay attention to my social medias. Today I have been Rhododendron Rhododendron, who uses they, Ray pronouns, who is having to think about people that Ray really does not want to think about. So if everyone could stop bringing them up, that would be great. Val!
Hello, my name is Valiant Dorian. I use he, him, his pronouns. You can find me all around the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Also Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I just set you on. Tonight, I had the distinct pleasure of playing your sad, lost little meow meow sayer who uses he, they pronouns. And I'm gonna pass it on over to the freakiest freak of Nova. Take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. I had such a delightful time today playing Mr. Zanin Esh, who did it all, who maybe got a little in trouble today for going real hard, partying real good. Yeah, you can find me all over the internet as Estelle of Imladris, where I do a lot of this, including starting streaming on my own channel starting this week. Come follow me there and check it out. But in the meantime, Sam.
Hello, everyone. I am Samstar. I use she, they, and the occasional they pronouns. You can find me all across the interwebs at Lust for Life X. Just follow me on there. I literally use social media just to update about the stuff that I do because I suck at everything else in relation to social media. So that's pretty much all that you're gonna get from me on there. Maybe a random tweet or two about something else, but mainly just the stuff that I work on because I'm the worst. But I have had the that's what you think. I am the worst. But like I was saying, I have had the most magnificent pleasure of playing our baby girl, our healer, Lumira Ashinyobi Oshipafara Theron. So take us home for the night, boss.
It's me taking us home for the night, boss. Thank you all so much for tuning into this deeply feral episode of the Chaos Protocol. If you enjoyed what you witnessed here tonight, leave us a positive review, join the Discord server, or post about us on social media. It genuinely really helps. I see all the quote retweets that our most dedicated fans do of like every single post we do, and it literally warms my heart. Thank you so much for doing that. It really helps us widen our reach. Not only does it help our creator brains when we're, dealing with imposter syndrome and burnout, it also really helps us continue to reach out to sponsors to make this work possible. If they see people are watching us and talking about us, they're gonna give us money. We're gonna be back with more chaos next week. But in the meantime, stick around for a raid on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, hop over to Twitch to join the raid. And we're going to be here next week, same time, same place, 8 p.m. US Eastern Time. That is February 22nd. The last Saturday of February is next week. And we are going to celebrate it with chaos. Journey well, transplaners, and see you soon.